Okay, so let's start with power of attorney. What is power of attorney, and why is it so important that a person with dementia implement it?
So the power of attorney is a document, a pretty simple document that allows someone to appoint another person called an attorney in the document. That doesn't mean you're appointing a lawyer, it just means that's what they're called, that will help the person manage finances. So if my husband has dementia, he'll probably appoint me to be his attorney in the power of attorney so that I can not just manage finances, like go to the bank and do all of that, but the privacy laws in Canada don't allow anyone just to get information, right? So if you want to phone and find out how my taxes are doing, you can't just do that. You would
Yeah.
need the power of attorney to be able to do that. And it's as simple as, lots of times people with dementia will hide their mail. So if my mom's hiding her mail and I want to find out if she paid her telephone bill, and I call TELUS, they won't talk to me, right?
That's true, yeah.
Because of the privacy laws. So with a power of attorney, now I can call and they'll talk to me. So it gives you that ability to manage their money. It gives you an ability just to manage information and find out what's going on.
So it sounds like power of attorney can really take a lot of pressure off the family and care partners. What happens if, while I can still make my own decisions about financial matters, is there a way that power of attorney doesn't kick in until I can no longer make those decisions?
So most powers of attorney are done where they'll only kick in when two doctors declare you incapacitated. But we don't actually recommend that kind of power of attorney for someone who's been diagnosed because the disease is progressive, and so you often need some help and then some more help along the road. So the best kind of power of attorney is an immediate power of attorney. And the reason that's good is because if you are the person who has been diagnosed, if you give somebody an immediate power of attorney, it doesn't take away any of your powers. So as long as you're still able to go to the bank or write a check and you still want to be able to use your credit card, the immediate power of attorney allows you to do that. As the disease progresses, the person you've appointed may take over more and more as you lose your ability. But the nice thing about that immediate power of attorney is it gives the person who has the disease the maximum amount of dignity during the course of the disease to deal with finances as long as they want to.
Excellent. Yeah, because I can see how that could be unnerving to give away that power when you are used to having it yourself, that control.
Absolutely. And that springing power of attorney, the one that comes into effect with two doctor's certificates, is also not a great thing for the person who has the disease because they have to be tested. And testing is never fun. So they have to go to a doctor and then they have to answer all these questions. And lots of people who have the disease are worried about that. They're worried about getting the test right, as we all are when we take tests, right? And so, so then people avoid going to doctors because they don't want to be tested. And so the immediate power of attorney avoids all of that. It gives you that maximum dignity through the disease, plus it avoids having to do that testing.
Yeah.
And as soon as someone's tested as having no capacity, right? Then now lots of things happen to them. Now banks don't want to deal with them. Nobody wants to deal with them because now somebody has declared that they don't have capacity. So if you do the immediate power of attorney, you actually never have to run into that because it'll just carry on even though the person has become incapacitated.
Who should we appoint power of attorney to?
The power of attorney manages all of your finances. So your bank accounts, your house, everything you have. So you have to make sure that you trust that person, right? Yeah. Because as soon as they're in charge, they could sell your house, they could take your money. So probably most important decision is that you have to think about who's the person you trust. If you're married, you're likely going to appoint your spouse, but then you need to have a plan B. It could be that your spouse dies or becomes incapacitated before you. So so you need a plan B. So who is the plan B? Probably it's going to be children, adult children who you trust and know will take care of you, or other professionals, lawyers, accountants, other friends who you think you know will take care of things. But probably the most important piece of advice I'd give is that it's not a great idea to just appoint one person other than a spouse. And the reason for that is you never know what's going to happen to that person. And because there's so much potential for abuse, you don't want that person to come in and start to steal your money. So if you have two people appointed, they'll oversee each other and it prevents some of that financial abuse.
That's great advice. Can you tell us the scope of what power of attorney covers?
So it's quite comprehensive unless you limit it. You can obviously limit it, but they can, the attorney can go into your finances, go into your investments, go into your bank accounts, sell any house or land that you have. Really, it's incredibly comprehensive. They'll apply for your disability insurance, they'll file your taxes, they will have complete control over everything that you have. So that's why it's so important to A, choose the right person, and B, really think about whether there should be limitations. So an example of a limitation would be if you have a family cottage that you never want sold and when you die you want to pass on to your children, in your power of attorney you might say, you know, don't sell the cottage because I want it to go to my children.
I see. Okay. And is there anything that the family can do to prepare for a visit with the lawyer?
So they should think about who they want to appoint, think about that first person and then who their contingency plan is, and think about whether there are limitations they want to put on that, although the lawyer can also talk to them about that. The power of attorney is probably pretty simple in terms of the steps you need to take to go to the lawyer, and that is really you just need to think about who are the people who are best suited to manage your finances if you become incapacitated.
Thank you so much for this, Doris.
You're welcome.